A man has gone on trial for the murder of a father of two in a shopping centre car park at Leichhardt in Sydney's inner west. Brad Dillon was repeatedly stabbed and shot in 2014, allegedly after an argument with a Sydney fight club. The accused, Diego Carboni, was arrested by police.
In the gritty streets of Sydney, Antonio Bagnato's story began not with a bang, but with a slow, seductive pull into the underworld. As a young man, he was captivated by the raw energy of Saint, Michael's Fight Club, a group that promised discipline, brotherhood, and spiritual grounding. But beneath its noble facade, the club was a ticking time bomb. What started as a haven for kickboxers morphed into a sinister syndicate, peddling drugs and thriving on violence. For Antonio, a fierce Australian kickboxer with a hunger for power, it was the perfect crucible to forge his destiny, a destiny drenched in blood. The Fight Club's transformation into a criminal empire was gradual but relentless. Its members, once bound by loyalty, became soldiers in a war for profit and dominance. Antonio, with his sharp fists and sharper ambition, rose quickly through the ranks. He wasn't just a fighter, he was a predator, honing his skills in manipulation and brutality. The club's connections to Sydney's criminal networks gave him a playground to flex his muscles, both literally and figuratively. Drug deals, extortion, and violent turf wars became his currency, setting the stage for a life that would spiral into chaos across two continents. The slaughter of Bradley Dillon. In August 2014, a petty $2,000 debt ignited a tragedy that would stain Sydney's streets red. Bradley Dillon, a 25-year-old father, was a man of principle, determined to recover money owed to his sister, Cassie, by her ex-boyfriend, Adriano Riccio. The cash, borrowed for drug rehab, was a debt Riccio had no intention of repaying. Frustrated but resolute, Bradley turned to Antonio Bagnato and his cousin Diego Carboni for help. It was a decision that would cost him his life. On August 11th, a cryptic text message lured Bradley to a dimly lit car park beneath a tab in Leichhardt, a quiet Sydney suburb. He arrived expecting a resolution, perhaps a tense negotiation. Instead, he walked into a trap. Antonio and Diego, fueled by cold calculation, had orchestrated a savage ambush. As Bradley descended the concrete stairs, the pair struck without mercy. Knives flashed, and a 9mm Glock roared, firing 3 shots that echoed through the underground lot. Bradley, stabbed multiple times and riddled with bullets, staggered onto Lord's Road, his life slipping away as he collapsed in a pool of blood. Witnesses glimpsed 2 shadowy figures fleeing into the night, leaving behind a scene of horror. The murder was as brazen as it was brutal, a stark display of Antonio's ruthlessness. A young father's life was snuffed out over a trivial sum, a chilling testament to the value Antonio placed on human life. The killing sent shockwaves through Sydney, but for Antonio, it was just another step in his descent into darkness. A fugitive's playground in Thailand. With Australian authorities closing in, Antonio fled to Thailand, a land of opportunity for those seeking to vanish. He set up shop in Pattaya, opening a gym that served as a flimsy facade for his true intentions. The move was meant to signal a fresh start, a chance to leave his past behind. But Antonio's demons followed him across the ocean. The gym quickly became a hub for his criminal enterprises, a front for drug trafficking, and a magnet for Thailand's underworld. Pattaya's neon-lit streets and shadowy backrooms were a perfect fit for Antonio's ambitions. He forged alliances with local gangs, leveraging his Sydney connections to carve out a slice of the lucrative drug trade. His kickboxing prowess and violent reputation made him a feared figure, but also a target. Thailand's criminal landscape was a snake pit, and Antonio was no stranger to its venom. His time in Pattaya was marked by a string of illicit deals, each one pulling him deeper into a world where betrayal was currency and violence was king. Wayne Schneider, the Hells Angels' titan. Enter Wayne Schneider, a methamphetamine mogul whose name carried weight in the global underworld. A Sydney native, Schneider had risen through the ranks of the Hells Angels, transforming from a small-time drug cook into a major player in international trafficking. In 2012, he relocated to Pattaya, where he built a sprawling empire, smuggling narcotics between Europe and Australia. Charismatic, volatile, and utterly ruthless, Schneider was a force to be reckoned with. his influence stretching across continents. Antonio and Schneider were a match made in hell. Their partnership began with mutual respect, with Antonio serving as Schneider's bodyguard and right-hand man. Together, they ran a gym that doubled as a front for their drug operations, laundering money and moving product with ruthless efficiency. For a time, their alliance was a powerhouse, a fusion of Antonio's brute force and Schneider's strategic cunning. But in the underworld, loyalty is a fragile thing, and their bond was destined to fracture. A partnership turned poison. The cracks in their relationship appeared slowly, but grew with deadly inevitability. Money, the lifeblood of their empire, became a source of contention. Schneider's domineering personality clashed with Antonio's growing ambition, and disputes over profits and control turned their partnership into a battleground. The gym, once a symbol of their shared success, became a pressure cooker of mistrust and resentment. In the high-stakes world they inhabited, every disagreement was a potential death sentence. Antonio, feeling sidelined and disrespected, began to see Schneider not as a partner, but as an obstacle. The Hells Angels boss's volatile nature and iron grip on their operations grated on Antonio, who craved a bigger slice of the pie. Their once profitable alliance devolved into a dangerous rivalry, with each man maneuvering for dominance. For Antonio, there was only one way to settle the score, a way that would leave blood on his hands once again: the kidnapping and murder of Wayne Schneider. In November 2015, the simmering feud exploded into violence. Antonio, fueled by rage and ambition, orchestrated a chilling plan. In the dead of night, he and 4 masked accomplices stormed Schneider's Pattaya home. The Hells Angels boss, caught off guard, was overpowered and dragged into a waiting vehicle. Witnesses later recalled the eerie silence broken by the screech of tires as Schneider was whisked away into the darkness. At Antonio's rented property, the scene turned gruesome. Schneider was bound to a chair, his fate sealed by the men he once trusted. What followed was a brutal assault, a storm of fists and blunt force that left Schneider broken and lifeless. The ferocity of the attack spoke to Antonio's pent-up fury, a lethal cocktail of betrayal and greed. To cover their tracks, the gang buried Schneider's body in a shallow grave in Sada Heap, a hasty attempt to erase their crime. But the grave was poorly concealed, and Thai authorities soon unearthed the grim evidence of Antonio's handiwork. The global manhunt, Schneider's murder, sent shockwaves through Thailand's underworld, and the police were quick to act. Antonio, sensing the noose tightening, fled to Cambodia, hoping to vanish into the chaos of a new border. But justice was relentless. Thai investigators, working with Cambodian authorities, tracked him down in a matter of weeks. Arrested and extradited back to Thailand, Antonio faced a trial that captivated the nation. The courtroom was a stage for the grisly details of Schneider's murder. DNA evidence, witness testimonies, and the sheer brutality of the crime painted a damning picture. Antonio's defense scrambled to deflect blame, but the prosecution's case was ironclad. In the end, the Thai court delivered a verdict that echoed the weight of his sins: a death sentence for kidnapping and murder. It was a stark reminder that even in the lawless corners of Pattaya, justice could strike. Justice for Bradley Dillon. Antonio's story didn't end in Thailand. In July 2022, after years of legal wrangling, he was extradited to Australia to face charges for Bradley Dillon's murder. The trial was a cathartic moment for Sydney, a chance to confront the ghost of a crime that had haunted the city for nearly a decade. Prosecutors laid bare the horrors of that Leichhardt car park, weaving a narrative of betrayal and bloodshed. Forensic evidence and eyewitness accounts left no room for doubt, and the jury's guilty verdict brought long overdue closure to Bradley's family. A legacy of ruin. Antonio Bagnato's reign of terror left a trail of devastation, from Sydney's quiet suburbs to Pattaya's neon-lit chaos. His crimes tore families apart and exposed the dark heart of organized crime. Yet his capture and convictions, the result of tireless international cooperation, stand as a testament to the power of justice. No matter how far a fugitive runs, the long arm of the law will find them. What drives a man like Antonio to embrace such a savage path? Is it the thrill of power, the seduction of money, or a deeper darkness within? Share your thoughts below, and if this tale of crime and consequence gripped you, like, share, and subscribe for more. Hit the bell to stay in the loop and dive into our other stories of justice and betrayal.